Before Alex Rodriguez was making headlines for his whirlwind romance and heartbreak with Jennifer Lopez, he was living the dream as a Major League Baseball player, earning an astronomical salary while being the awe and ire of sports fans everywhere, including some of his rivals and teammates. So today we're going to focus on some of Alex Rodriguez's major feuds and drama throughout the years. But before we begin, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button for all the latest on your favorite celebs. Let's start with something out of left field. Alex Rodriguez versus Kylie Jenner. Yes, these two had a tiny little feud after ARod told Sports Illustrated how his brief conversation with Kylie Jenner went at the 2019 Met Gala, saying, quote, "We had Kylie and Kendall, and we had an Asian gentleman from Rich Asians, the lead. Kylie was talking about Instagram and her lipstick and how rich she is." Now, to most people, this comes off as a silly joke, but not to Kylie. She responded to Alex's comments on Twitter saying, quote, "No, I didn't. We only spoke about Game of Thrones." To save face, Alex joked saying he must have been the only one talking about lipstick the whole time. Next up, Yankees A-Rod versus Red Sox's Jason Varitek. Alex has had a few heated moments on the field, as most athletes do, but the one against Boston Red Sox's Jason Varitek really stands out. In July 2004, the two baseball players got into a heated fight during a game at Fenway Park when Red Sox pitcher Bronson Arroyo drilled A-Rod with the ball. A-Rod took the hit in stride for a moment before cursing the pitcher out. Red Sox catcher Varitek went on to defend his teammate by confronting the Yankee player, and suddenly the two began to fight on the field, and a massive brawl between both teams ensued. Months later, the Red Sox would get their revenge against Alex and the Yankees as they kicked them out of the World Series before sweeping the St. Louis Cardinals to win the championship. Fast forward to June 2021, Alex spoke about his feud with Varitek on air during a Yankee versus Red Sox game and said he has respect for the player, but their feud is dead serious and they've never said a word to each other after all these years. Now on to ARod versus David Ortiz, another feud between legendary players for the Yankees and Red Sox, respectively. However, the two were teammates and close friends when they played for the Seattle Mariners in the mid-90s. That friendship crumbled a bit in 2014 once Roidgate flooded headlines and Alex was accused of using performance-enhancing drugs. When Alex's lawyer Joseph Tacopino went to bat for the player on ESPN Radio, he alluded to Ortiz using the performance-enhancing drug, saying, quote, "I'm not going to start naming all the other players, but some of them are godlike in Boston right now." Joseph later insisted he wasn't referring to David Ortiz, but the damage was already done, and the player was deeply offended by the supposed accusation. The Red Sox player didn't talk to Alex for several years. He even clapped back at Alex for allowing his lawyer to even make such a comment when speaking to ESPN's Dave Portez, saying, quote, "If you're my lawyer and you represent me and say something in public, then it usually means that I stand by what you say. If you say something that I don't agree with, my duty is to call you and explain what is going on, and maybe to publicly say that you disagree with what the lawyer said. That's it." But that never happened. But this is in the past and it doesn't matter. But at the time, I thought it was Rodriguez's duty, due to our friendship and mutual respect, to say something. Closer to 2016, and the two have mentioned in several interviews that they've spoken to each other again, with Ortiz saying he set aside his grievances. Now to ARod versus Jose Canseco. In March 2019, after ARod and Jennifer Lopez got engaged, Jose Canseco went on Twitter and accused his former Yankees teammate of hooking up with his ex-wife, Jessica Canseco. He tweeted about this a few more times before challenging Alex to an MMA fight. Jose then doubled down on the allegations in an interview with Vlad TV, saying Alex made comments about his ex-wife in the past. He also claimed ARod's mother alluded to her son having an affair with his ex-wife. However, their drama dates all the way back to when Jose released his 2008 book, Vindicated: Big Names, Big Liars, and the Battle to Save Baseball. In the book, he accused ARod of using steroids after connecting him to a dealer. Despite the accusation, Jose made it clear he's never seen Alex use the drug. However, when ARod was asked about the accusations in the book by the New York Times, he responded by saying no comment and that he would be open to talking about baseball. Now to A-Rod's feud with Derek Jeter and their frenemy relationship. Early in their careers, the two were the hottest up-and-comers in Major League Baseball and were so friendly their teammates would sometimes complain about cordial behavior in the middle of games. As years went by, Alex would begin to do press and made comments when speaking to Esquire, suggesting his friend and Yankees prodigy wasn't as talented as the media makes him out to be. Derek took the comments in stride, and eventually A-Rod backtracked on his statements and even claimed they were taken out of context by the interviewer. Years later, around 2004, A-Rod would leave the Texas Rangers to join Jeter and play for the New York Yankees. During their time together, the two would make jokes about the media trying to divide them and break their friendship. But the two would then have passive-aggressive instances as the years went on. Whenever there was controversy or backlash surrounding Rodriguez's sportsmanship or performance, Jeter would often try to avoid discussions, neither defending nor shading his teammate. Later, around 2007, A-Rod admitted in an interview with ESPN that their friendship had declined and requested the media stop asking questions about Jeter so he wouldn't have to pretend they're always great friends. Years would go by and their friendship would continue to be wishy-washy, with both players being deflective and hesitant to comment on each other during interviews. But the tension between them seemed to dissipate a bit after the two secured a World Series title in 2009. Now on to Alex Rodriguez versus Alex Rodriguez. In 2009, A-Rod admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs between 2001 to 2003 while playing for the Texas Rangers. Although, at an infamous press conference, he claimed he wasn't aware of the drug he was given. Bolay was anything other than an energy booster. Cut to 2013, and Rodriguez was involved in another scandal after getting HGH from Biogenesis of America. While he initially denied using the drugs, lawyer Lazaro Collazo claimed DEA documents confirmed A-Rod confessed to using it. Eventually, the MLB suspended him from the league. Alex missed out on 162 games and all of the 2014 season. Fast forward to 2019, Alex opened up about this moment in his life during a panel talk at a conference in Phoenix, Arizona, saying it was one of the biggest things to happen as he was forced to look at himself. He said, quote, "The year 2014 became the most pivotal year of my life. Some very, very long nights, some very lonely nights, looking in the mirror, having to answer some tough questions. Then the most important thing is taking full accountability for my mistakes. The suspension cost me probably north of $45 million, probably more. It was worth every penny. That exercise was the hardest thing I've had to do in my life. To let people down and then to look at them in the eye or make the phone call and say, I'm sorry."